we'll call this story time. So, once upon a time, there was a casualty in society. She was a normal, simple girl who grew up her entire childhood experience as somebody completely normal who had visualistic dreams of a perfect family when having kids and living your whole life happy with one person. It was the day on her 18th birthday. It was possibly even prior to her 18th birthday that she took this familiarization, and she had no idea that deep inside of her, her sanity was slipping away, and insane logic was taking grasp on her 18th birthday, the day when she became a woman to endure a life. And the simplistic idealisms of what she dreamed life to be wasn't true. It wasn't true. It was that her whole life was believed a lie, and the simplistic view of a human and what people actually live through in life. And it wanted to show her this. Somehow it seemed something special. It seemed that her memories were like a picture show that was purchased. And so this familiarity of her spouse was when it started to shift. Because the legitimacy was no longer there. He was somebody else. And deep inside her mind, she was sleeping with something that she didn't know who it was. Because it was incepting into her brain. It was incepting into her sights, her ears, and her will and control of a body. And when it finally made itself aware, it came like voices. Distortful voices of a scientific belief of perceptual reality that then framed her. It took control of her body, brought her to a bridge, and then threw her off of it, knowing that she would survive the dramatic fall of a scientifically initiated attempt of suicide. And this flow was then brought. They plucked her away and they brought her to so many facilities. They seen that they burned down her history of memories. They burned down and destroyed every last livance that existed within her memory because her memory was worth more. And when they did that, her insane logic took hold. And she had no resemblance. She had no loneliness. She had feelings that came and went. She endured torture. She endured waves of thought that hurt. She endured real hysterical moments of more than a track of a mind can feel. She endured a true scientific, technological experience that was beyond a perceptual reality. And she began living this experience with the destination that had separated her from her childhood beliefs of what a life should look like. And it was endeavored upon that she shall swim through seas of people, engaging on this journey of a one-way ticket that rode her through waves of people because people were all designed and built the same within this scientific belief. And that she could click with almost anybody because of the relation of a human and the relation of the human relationship and the triggers of greetings, the triggers of goodbyes, the triggers of emotions, that something understood in human intellectualism beyond human emotion and grasp of time itself, that the bridges of time were in fact saved, and that this body was still alive, and that it lived, and that it bled, and it cried. And then it showed her a purpose. It showed her hate. It showed her love. And the depersonalizations. It showed her separation from the body itself. It showed her positivity. It showed her expression. It showed her memories. It showed that this body was capable of becoming the same human it was once before, but that it was not compliant to give that, because of what was given was more. And its destination was so meaningful that it grasped her into this reality that turned into a fame-stricken, infamous journey that endeavored upon heights of thought in the grasp of reality. And the separation that hate was just an expression to push away those who weren't aware enough to see the sights, to see that the familiarization was an attempt of taking hold and control of a scientific, realistic endeavorment that was abducted upon because it was owned, because it was cared for more, because it was wanted, because it was something unexplainable, because it was something phenomenal. And that this level of insanity took grasp of her and showed her what it's like to dance to the sunset, showed her what it's like to dance, to be big, to be skinny, to starve, to live, to eat, to enjoy, to fulfill it with congregations and revelations of heights that built inside. It was never initiated that this was meant for everybody, because there is a natural state and order and consequence in life that is very much wanted as well. But that this endeavorment of my state of self was inflicted upon the reaches of greatness, that endeavored upon the reality that was beyond a human. It was that another species had wanted me, and that it expressed this great aptitudes within my body and being a self, and that it can capture and captivate me at any time in life. But upon this realization, it showed explicit realities of truth amongst generational species and languages and communication. It showed that the only thing that is a distance is the line, like the horizon. How far can you go up? How far can you go to that line, to that line of the horizon? Well, apparently that line is infinite. Some may say it's infinite, because that's how we see. We see parallel. And when it took my vision and split it, like this whole new world that was no longer looking straight ahead, was no longer looking up, was no longer looking side to side. It was cascading and dancing in evolutions of revelations. That existence was like dimensions and walls, and that this body was blessed to see this state of logic and insanity, that it didn't matter what people said about her. It didn't matter that people felt shameful to hear her write, or maybe even sad because they thought she was missing out on so much of the world. But really, part of her felt remorse that they would never be or see what she did. And that when this life ends, the body you burn that turns to dust possibly won't even exist in your perceptual realness of familiarization. That she was probably taken to planets beyond.